Hello, BookTube. Hello, friends. Welcome to Lizzie Faye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth, and it is Friday. In fact, it is the first Friday of August. August started on Saturday, and so I thought I would just go ahead and maybe try to do a Friday Reads every Friday for the month of August, mainly to update you on what I'm reading for the summer fling, which is what I plan to read for the majority of the month. This week, not everything I read was romances, although I did squeeze some in, but I finished a couple of things that I had started in the month of July, and then I read a couple of things that are not romances that I just wanted to get done and get out, get them out of the way before, spending the rest of the month on romances. If you hear something off to the side, it's my daughter Emily. She is turning the pages of a book, which is great, but she cannot do it quietly. So if you hear that crackling of pages, that's her. So anyway, let's just get started. Let's start with, let me just start by telling you I have finished 10 books so far in the month of August. And two of those, I believe just two of them were books that I had started previously. Actually, maybe just one of them. I'm working on finishing an audiobook today. It's the one that I did have in my car, and then I brought it in. I started it during Reading Rush, and I didn't get that far on it because I'm just not in my car that much. And I decided I really wanted to go ahead and get it done. It is kind of a romance. And anyway, it is The Beach House. Or no, it's Beach House for Rent by Mary Alice Monroe. So this is book 4 in the Beach House series. I read The Beach House and the second one called Swimming Lessons last summer. And then during the month of July, I read Beach House Memories, which is a prequel. And I literally returned that physical book to the library yesterday. And then today I woke up and realized that I don't think I have a book with beach on the cover to show in the Summer Fling scavenger hunt. And I'm like, what was I thinking? I couldn't have just taken a picture of that book before I sent it back to the library. Anyway, I'll try to come up with something. But at the moment that I'm filming this, I haven't posted anything. Hopefully I will by the time you see this video. I should have something on Instagram. If you're not following Summer Fling Scavenger Hunt or Summer Fling Readathon on Instagram, be sure you go on there and do that. People are posting some really fun book covers that meet the different prompts. And today's prompt for August 7th is beach. So I might just go with this one. It has the word beach on it, and it's a current read right now. So even though you can't see the beach, you can see the beach house. So maybe we'll go with that. So this one I hope to finish today, but I have not finished it at the time of this filming, which is about 4:30 on Friday afternoon. What I did finish today that I carried over from July is Life Goes On by Philip Gulley. This is hilarious. I have mixed feelings about this series overall because it does poke fun at Christians, but really, we have to be able to laugh at ourselves. But then on the other hand, the people and the things they do in this book is not really what a Christian would do. So it's just way over the top. You just have to separate this from reality, because really, if there are people in real life who would do these things, oh my goodness. But it's just hilarious. They're really, really funny. It's the Harmony series by Philip Gulley, who is a Quaker minister, which scares me a little bit to think that he must have gotten his material from somewhere. But, I'm sure he takes real life situations and then just blows them way up to make them funny. Please tell me that they're not real situations. Anyway. Okay. So two books that I just wanted to get out of the way. Actually, 3 books I wanted to get out of the way before getting in heavy into romance for this month. One of them is my Series of Unfortunate Events book. I am reading one of these each month. Last month I had to break down and listen to my last month's book on audio right at the end of the month, which was, last week. And so I went ahead and did the same with this one. I listened to it on Hoopla, and they're narrated by Tim Curry. This is The Carnivorous Carnival. I think I like these better in print. Tim Curry's great, but I get the full experience of reading these in print more than rushing through them on audio. So next month I'll probably go back to reading my print copies since I own them all. And then the other one I wanted to get done is my Newbery winner for the month. I've been trying to listen to or read at least one Newbery winner. Last month I ended up, I think, reading 4. But for this month, I figured I'll probably just do one. And I don't have a physical copy. It's called Miracles on Maple Hill. And I think it's by Virginia Hamilton. And I think it's a Newbery winner from the 50s. So it goes pretty far back there. And then I also read another, well, I said that was going to be my only one. I reread a Newbery winner, Dicey's Song by Cynthia Voigt, because I had wanted to read this again last month and I didn't get to it. And then the audio of this and the third book are on Scribd, and I've never read the third book. And wouldn't you know, as soon as I read this one on Scribd, the third book became unavailable. That's always the way it goes. So I can't even listen to it until next month, but it's okay. And then a couple of books that have some romance in them, so they can count for this. Hold on one second. Sorry, Emily's over here, needed something. Anyway, so 2 books that I wanted to finish this trilogy, and I didn't get, I had thought I would get at least one of them done in July, and I didn't. They're on audio on Hoopla, and I just decided to go ahead and get these done. It's been on my list to read now for several months, and the book is Sarah's Quilt, which is the sequel to These Is My Words by Nancy E. Turner. And when I finished this and I had enjoyed it so much, I went ahead and just checked out the third one and listened to it as well. The third one is called Star Garden. It has a similar look to the cover. I don't have a physical copy, but it has a quilt on the cover. I gave this one 5 stars, just like it's the first book, These Is My Words. I only gave the third book 4 stars. It was a great book, but there was 2 things that I just did not like, and I'm not even going to go into it. If you guys know me, you can probably guess what it relates to anyway, but I just wanted it to be so good and clean and wholesome all the way through. And I mean, no, there's a lot of violence in it. There is a lot of killing and stuff. Very compelling. But anyway, the main character let me down a little bit in the third book, but it's human life. So, you know, it's realistic, it's human life, and I can deal with that. But I love the whole trilogy. Overall, it's definitely right up there on my favorite, some of my favorite books of all time now is this trilogy. So this is book 2, Sarah's Quilt, and I read this one and The Star Garden. Okay, then last week I also did a TBR jar video where I drew out some new books from my TBR jar, and I went ahead and finished the first one in the month of July. It was called Fish, and so now I have finished the next one. It's called The Bible Cure by Reginald Cherry, MD, and I'm so glad that I read this. This one I'm keeping. I'm going to keep it for reference, but it is a little bit dated because some of the advice he gives as far as what to eat, he sort of buys into the thought process back in the 90s of this book, I think published in 98. You know, there was a time when everybody thought that everything had to be low fat, and we know that's not the case anymore. And he talks about what the Bible says to eat, and that's very sound, but then he kind of takes it one step further and tells us what, you know, medical doctors of the time say to eat, and I disagreed a little bit with that. So it's a little bit dated, but overall, I thought it was a great book, and I really did like how he talked about, you know, biblically what people ate and how that translates into today's world. There are some other books, I think by Don Colbert, that have some similar things, like What Would Jesus Eat, that type of thing. I have some of those on my shelf, and now that I've read this one, which honestly was kind of boring, I'm hoping that Don Colbert is a little better writer, but this was so short. You know, it took me a week to read it. I just read a chapter a day and got it done, but I had to fight sleep, really, while I was reading it. But, you know, this guy is a doctor. He's not necessarily a writer. And I'm thankful that he shared this information and his beliefs and his findings and things in this book. So definitely worth reading, but you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt, which he says not to eat. But, you know, I'm going to keep it around because I think there is some good sound advice in this book. It's called The Bible Cure. And so then I already mentioned that I'm working on finishing this one. I have brought this in the house and I'm finishing it up on my CD player, which currently I have in my kitchen. So that left my CD player and my car open, and I went ahead and took this one out there, and I've just barely started it, but really this one has pulled me in from the very beginning. This is by Susan Wiggs. It's her newest one, The Lost and Found Bookshop. And right now, just in the beginning, it's about this woman whose mother is a bookseller, and she is an executive. She's just gotten a promotion, and then she's in the restroom, and she hears some of her coworkers talking about how much they hate her. So she's kind of reevaluating everything, and coming to terms with how people feel about her and all of that. So anyway, that's just how it starts out. I believe there's going to be a character in here with memory loss. So I'm using this one for the disability representation for the summer fling. Emily's still over here making noise. Hang on one second. So then the other 3 books that I finished this week are all by Debbie Macomber. I listened to them on audio on Hoopla. I don't have physical copies of any of them. One of them was called A Little Bit Country, and one was called The Bachelor Prince. That was probably my favorite of the 3, and both of those were definitely romances. And then the other one, the first one I listened to by her, is called Changing Habits, and it wasn't really a romance. And I know Debbie Macomber is known for her romances, but she does have a few nonfiction. This one was more of a historical fiction. It was about 3 young women who decide to become nuns, and then at some point later decide to leave the church or leave being a nun and go on with their life, either still in the Catholic Church or not. The different ones were different. There was primarily 3 different women. And so I don't know how I feel about that. I don't really know anything about Catholicism. I sort of had mixed feelings about it. I read some other reviews of people some people thought, it was spot on, because the era that she's talking about, there were a lot of people, a lot of nuns that left the convent and gave up being a nun and left the church because of a lot of the scandals and the things that were going on, and because a lot of the rules and things. So I don't know. It was interesting, but not a romance. I was kind of expecting everything Debbie Macomber does to be a romance. Well, actually, I take that back. There was, if you want to call it romance, a little bit in the beginning, and it was a very big departure from what Debbie Macomber usually writes. But the book opened right up with 2 teenagers in the back seat of a car, and it was a little bit graphic. I mean, for what we usually see from Debbie Macomber, it didn't leave anything to the imagination. So that was a little different for what I'm used to seeing or reading about from her. So anyway, so that's everything that I finished. Now, what I'm planning to read this month or this next week, I mentioned my TBR jar. So since I finished 2 of those now, I only drew out 4. One of them is just a little booklet that is kind of a Bible study booklet. And the scriptures that are talked about in that booklet are going to be a lot of the same scriptures that I'm going to be reading next month when I read the book of Romans. This month I'm reading the book of Acts in my Bible, in my reading through the Bible. And so I'm going to save that for next month. So since I've already finished the other 2, the only one that leaves is the Everglades book. So it's the Book of the Everglades, edited by Susan Cerillian. And I've looked at all the chapters. Each is written by a different Florida author, different contributor. And they're all real short. So there's just about enough in here to cover one a day for the rest of the month. So that is my plan, to go ahead and read one of these little stories each day this month, and I'll be done with that. So then really I just have that little Bible booklet and my fiction books, and I'll be able to draw out some more books from my TBR jar. So then I mentioned that I started this one in my car because I had brought this Beach House book inside. Now I want to finish this one today. Right now, currently I have a CD player in my kitchen. I'm going to move that one back to under the desk where it lives when I'm not listening to it. And I have pulled this baby out from under the desk. Yep, I did it. And I am going to listen to The Proposal by Lori Wick, which I have on audio cassette, unabridged. And that will be my next kitchen listen. And I wish I had this whole series on audio. I can't find it free anywhere. It's not on Audible Escape or Hoopla or anything like that. And I have book 1 and 4 on tape, literally on tape. So I'll have to read books 2 and 3 in print if I want to, get those read anytime soon. But I'm excited that I have this, and I'm going to listen to the proposal. It is a reread. I have listened to this before, but I have not continued on with the rest of the series, and it's been years. I think I've listened to this 2 times. It's really cute. It's about a group, a family with a dad. The mother, I guess, has passed away, and the father hires a nanny or a governess, and the kids love her so much they want their dad to marry her. So it's real sweet. And then I hope to also, well, I've got one more Debbie Macomber checked out on Hoopla. It's called Rainy Day something. I have to look and see. Rainy Day, oh dear. Well, go to my current reads. I'm also currently reading another nonfiction book too, and my buddy read, which I need to tell you about. Well, I don't know. Anyway, I've got one more Debbie. It's like a 5-hour, maybe almost 6-hour book, and so I'm probably not going to finish it today. I'm going to work to finish the Beach House book and get that done today, and then get the Debbie one finished. As soon as it's done, that's everything I have checked out right now on Hoopla. And then I'm going to go then to Audible Escape, and I'm going to start my read-along. So if you'd like to join me for this read-along of Ransom Canyon, I have created some threads on my Goodreads group, Lizzie Faye's Comfy Corner, and I'm going to start this in just the next day or 2. So please join me. I think I divided it into 3 parts, about 100 pages per part, and so when you get done with the sections, they're indicated there on the threads on the group. Just come back and chat about each section when you get done with it, and let's have fun reading this together. So I've read a lot of Jodie Thomas, but I haven't read anything from this series, and I'm really looking forward to it. And let me go get my buddy read book, and I'll show you that. Okay, I had this by my reading chair, and I had forgotten to bring it in here. I'm currently reading with my friend Mandy from Mandy Garrett, Sunshine. This is book 6, I think. It's actually book F, because these are lettered instead of numbered. And it is in the Welcome to Tyler series, which was an old Harlequin series that was published in the 90s by various authors. They are all set in this fictitious town of Tyler, Wisconsin. And so far, they've been decent. A couple of them we didn't really like. Well, we read 2 together last year, and then we had read the first 2 on our own. And so the first one we read together last year, we agreed was not that great. But overall, they've been fun to read. And, anyway, I love the covers with the quilt on the cover. Then the next book for the Summer Fling Readathon that I'm going to start in print is the one by an author of color. This is Right Package, Wrong Baggage by Wanda B. Campbell. So that one I'm going to get started on. And then I forgot to mention, well, since I had to go to my reading chair, I grabbed this one too. I am currently reading another nonfiction book along with my devotionals, because this month we didn't get a Journey magazine, which I usually use. And so I am currently reading Don't Check Your Brains at the Door by Josh McDowell and Bob Hostetler. This is just made up of little mini Bible studies, and I'm enjoying it. So I started a little bit before the end of July, and I doubled up and read 2 on 3 or 4 days. Then that left me just exactly enough to read 1 a day in the month of August, so that I can finish it by the end of the month as well. So that is about everything that I wanted to tell you about, everything I'm reading or have finished recently or am about to read. Let me know what you're reading for the month of August or for the Summer Fling Readathon. Be sure you check out the Instagram challenges that everyone's doing. And if you take a look at those and you think, oh, I want to get in on this, just jump right in. You don't have to go back and do the old ones, but you can if you want to. I don't care if you post all of them in one post or a bunch of posts or whatever, however you want to do it. But just join in the fun. It is a lot of fun. We are doing another live show on the 15th of August. I believe it's going to be on Kayla's channel called On the Fritz. If I'm wrong, it'll be in the description. But that's going to be on the 15th. So I hope to be involved in that. We can only have 6 at a time. So some of the hosts, we have to kind of bounce in and out in order to get everybody in there. So if it's full, I won't try to get in, but I'll definitely be watching and chatting. So anyway, that's all for this video. I would love to chat with you in the comments. I hope you're having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.